you're looking to dive into topics on how to live a happier, healthier, more fit, and long lifespan, then you've come to the right podcast. Living the Dream with me, Coach Damian Evans. Together, we will explore the topics on all things health, fitness, and wellness. Together, we will be lifelong learners on this journey to living the ultimate dream. What up, Dream Team? Coach D here, coming at you from beautiful sunny San Diego, and welcome back to the Living the Dream podcast, where we're going to finish this week strong by covering how to properly fuel our bodies based on what works best for us individually and in order to reach for your health, fitness, and wellness goals, and in order to live your dream life. And today we're tackling a topic that's been a source of confusion, fear, and misinformation for decades. The topic is cholesterol. I know many of you have heard your doctor say that your cholesterol is too high, or avoid eggs and fatty foods. And suddenly you're terrified of every bite of breakfast. But here's the deal. Cholesterol is way more nuanced than good versus bad, or eat this and avoid that. Today, we're breaking it all down so that you can ditch the fear and take back control. My goal is simple: to help you understand what cholesterol really is, how it works, and what you can do to optimize your levels and ultimately optimize your long-term health. By the end of this episode, you'll feel empowered to make decisions that support your longevity. No more guesswork, no more stress. All right, let's do it. Let's dive in. What is cholesterol and why does it matter? Cholesterol is a fat-like substance that's essential for your body. Your liver makes most of it, and also you get some from your diet. It's carried through your bloodstream by two key players. You've heard of them before: LDL and HDL. These are carriers that carry cholesterol through your bloodstream. I just kind of want to get that point dialed in. They are carriers. LDL is a carrier. HDL is a carrier. It's not the actual fat, the fat-like substance that cholesterol is. Cholesterol is carried by these carriers, LDL and HDL. LDL stands for low-density lipoprotein, often called the quote-unquote bad cholesterol. LDL carries cholesterol to your cells, but can deposit excess cholesterol in your artery walls. This can lead to plaque buildup. And then we go through those chronic diseases of high blood pressure, of heart attack, of scleroderma, all those kind of things where you get buildup in the artery walls. So that's why LDL is considered the quote unquote bad cholesterol. HDL is high density lipoprotein. This is known as the quote unquote good cholesterol. So this HDL, it scavenges excess cholesterol around the bloodstream and it takes it back to the liver for disposal. So LDL carries the cholesterol to your cells. HDL carries the cholesterol away from your cells back to the liver for disposal. Why does that matter? When LDL cholesterol levels are high, LDL, and HDL levels are low, it increases the risk of plaque buildup in your arteries. So think of these as like garbage trucks. If you have the same amount of garbage trucks that are taking trash to and trash away, you probably are pretty good. But if you start to get less trash trucks taking the trash away and more trucks taking the trash to, you're probably going to have a buildup over time. Over time, this can lead to cardiovascular disease like heart attacks and strokes. But here's the twist. Cholesterol in itself isn't inherently bad. It's a critical component of hormone production, of your cellular structure, the structure of your cells, and of bile formation. It's all about balance. As with most things in the body, it's all about balance. So again, more simply put, cholesterol is like a delivery truck. LDL is the truck that is dropping off packages, and sometimes they drop it off in the wrong place. And HDL is the cleanup crew that picks up the leftovers. The problem arises when there are too many delivery trucks and not enough cleanup crews. Let's talk about the diet cholesterol myth. For years, we were told to avoid foods that are high in cholesterol, eggs, shrimp, butter. But modern research shows that dietary cholesterol has little impact on your blood cholesterol. For most people, of course. Instead, your liver adjusts its cholesterol production based on how much you eat. So your liver can sense how much cholesterol is in your diet, and it can ramp up production or it can depress production. The real culprits, they're finding out that they're more like saturated fats and trans fats and things like refined carbohydrates. These things can raise LDL levels and contribute to small, dense LDL particles, which are more dangerous. They're finding out that there are many different sizes of LDL and HDL, and the smaller LDL, the more dense the LDL particle, the more dangerous. It can get lodged and stuck in the blood cells. More simply put, eating an egg will not clog your arteries. What you should be mindful of, or more mindful of, is a diet high in processed junk food, sugary drinks, and unhealthy trans fats. Think about the big picture. It's not one food, it's your overall eating pattern. The cholesterol in your body comes from two sources. You have your liver and you have your diet. Cholesterol comes from two sources in your body, your liver and your diet. However, the vast majority of cholesterol in your body is made by your liver, about 80% made by your liver, 20% from your diet. Your body tightly regulates this process, producing cholesterol as needed to support essential functions. Things like building cell membranes, building the membranes around your cells, producing hormones, things like estrogen, testosterone, and cortisol. These are highly regulated by the cholesterol that is created by your liver. And then making bile acids. These things help digest your food. The remaining 20% of cholesterol in your bloodstream comes from the foods that we eat. While cholesterol is found in animal-based foods like eggs and meat and dairy, eating these foods doesn't directly cause a large increase in your blood cholesterol. For most people, we talked about this in last Fuel Up Fridays episode, where there are some people that might be hyper responders, but this is for most people. Why? Because our liver compensates. If you consume more cholesterol from your food, your liver makes less. If you consume less dietary cholesterol in your food, your liver produces more to meet your body's needs. It's like when you get too cold. If you get too cold, your body is going to start shivering to regulate the body temperature that it wants to stay at, and then it'll heat yourself up. All those tiny muscle contractions will heat yourself up. If you get too hot, your body will send signals to open up the sweat ducts, and it'll start sweating so that the air can hit your skin and cool you down, because it wants to regulate where your temperature is. It likes to find homeostasis. Your liver does the same thing for cholesterol. Your liver is like the manager of a cholesterol factory. If you eat more cholesterol, the factory slows down production. If you eat less, it speeds up production. This is why dietary cholesterol doesn't seem to have a huge impact on your blood cholesterol levels for most people, which for some people, this should blow your mind, because I talk to people at least once a week that do not believe this, that were told something completely different by trusted medical professionals or by someone that they trusted and heard, or a book that they read. But some people are hyper responders. So this is where it gets a little tricky. Some people are cholesterol hyper responders, about 15 to 25% of the population. For these individuals, eating foods high in cholesterol might cause a noticeable increase in blood cholesterol levels. However, even in these cases, the rise in both bad, quote unquote, bad LDL and quote unquote, good HDL, that tends to balance things out, mitigating some of the risks. So the real culprits here, for most people, what does affect blood cholesterol levels more significantly is not the cholesterol in your food, but it's rather the saturated fat that you get from things like butter, fatty meats, coconut oil, trans fats for sure. There's a reason why these should be out of our foods. The things like partially hydrogenated oils found in some processed foods, and then refined carbohydrates and sugars. This can increase triglycerides and small, dense LDL particles. So while your liver does the heavy lifting when it comes to cholesterol. Your diet still does matter, not because of the cholesterol in food, but because of how different foods affect your body's cholesterol regulation, how these foods affect the way that your body regulates cholesterol. The bottom line is you don't need to fear cholesterol-rich foods like eggs. Focus on a heart-healthy diet with lots of fiber, omega-3s, and minimally processed foods. This will help support healthy cholesterol levels. While dietary cholesterol, like the kinds found in eggs, it has little impact on your blood cholesterol for most people, certain other foods influence how your liver manages cholesterol and how cholesterol behaves in your bloodstream. So let's dive a little bit more in depth. Now that we don't have to worry about the cholesterol-rich foods, let's go a little more in depth on the culprits that are causing the issues. Saturated fats, foods high in saturated fats, butter, fatty cuts of meat, cheese, coconut oil. These foods don't contain cholesterol themselves, but they impact how your liver processes them. So what happens? Saturated fats, they can increase the production of LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol, in the liver. LDL particles can deposit cholesterol in your artery walls, contributing to this plaque buildup and the increased risk of heart disease. Think of it like this. Saturated fats rev up your liver's cholesterol factory, leading to an overproduction of LDL. Butter and cream, cheese and full-fat dairy, fatty cuts of red meat like ribeye or pork belly, tropical oils like coconut oil or palm oil. So what's the threshold with these things? Current guidelines suggest limiting your saturated fat to less than 10% of your daily calories. For example, if you eat 2,000 calories a day, that's about 22 grams per day. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not someone that's eating a ton of saturated fat every day. Maybe I'll have meals that are high in saturated fat, but think about this as your overall weekly load. It's okay to have these foods in moderation. Just know that if you're someone that eats the same food all the time, this might be something to, be a little bit more aware of. Number 2 is trans fats. These are the real villains. Trans fats are artificially created fats found in partially hydrogenated oils. And while their presence in food has decreased due to regulations, it's crazy that they still exist in some processed foods and fried foods. They're allowed to keep this trans fats in because it's at such a low amount that they can say that it's zero trans fats. But then some food companies, they'll just adjust their serving sizes so that they can say zero trans fats. If they had like a real serving size on there, they would have to put that it has trans fats. So it's like all these little loopholes that companies go around just to be able to, make these foods last a little longer so that they can, get their bottom line. They have their bottom line in mind. What happens when trans fats raise LDL cholesterol? They also simultaneously lower the HDL, good cholesterol. This is like a double whammy for heart health because they not only promote the buildup of cholesterol in the artery walls, but they also remove your body's defenses. Essentially, trans fats disrupt the balance of your body, the way that it needs to manage your cholesterol effectively. So things like packaged baked goods, cookies, cakes, pastries, margarine or shortening, unless it's labeled trans fat free, but who knows how little there might be. Fried fast foods, microwave popcorn, and other snack foods have been known to have it in there. If you see partially hydrogenated oils on the food label, this is your signal to avoid it. Even small amounts of trans fats, just 1 to 2 grams per day, have been shown to significantly increase your risk of heart disease. This is why many health experts recommend avoiding trans fats entirely. And then the third, the refined carbohydrates and sugars, we kind of already know this. These sneaky culprits that taste so good. This is where it gets interesting. Refined carbs and sugars, though they're not fats, they can wreak havoc on your cholesterol and triglyceride levels. How? Diets high in refined carbs like white bread, pasta, pastries, sugary drinks for sure, these can lead to increased triglycerides. This excess sugar gets converted into fat and stored in your bloodstream as triglycerides. High triglycerides are a risk factor for heart disease. And this is going to increase the small, dense LDL particles that are the more dangerous form of LDL because they are more likely to get lodged in your artery walls and promote that plaque formation. Then decreasing your HDL cholesterol, these refined carbohydrates can lower your good cholesterol, leaving your body less equipped to actually clear out that cholesterol. They're found in the sugary drinks and sodas, the sweetened teas and the energy drinks, the white bread, the white rice, the pastries, anything packaged snack food like chips or crackers, sweets like candies, cakes, and cookies. We know these things aren't necessarily great for our health, but this is just another reason if you're someone that worries about eggs for cholesterol or butter, this might be something to more focus on. Why are they dangerous? It's refined carbs and sugars cause spikes in blood sugar and insulin, which over time can lead to insulin resistance. And we've talked about this a lot on the podcast before. It's just that condition that promotes fat storage. It creates inflammation, chronic inflammation, and poor cholesterol regulation. Now, I'm a huge fan of cheese myself. I love full-fat dairy and I love red meat. So do I have to avoid all of these? Not necessarily. Being a fan of cheese, being a fan of full-fat dairy and red meat doesn't automatically mean that we're in trouble with our cholesterol. Here's a more nuanced perspective with these kind of foods. It's all about balance and context. The impact of saturated fats from foods like cheese, full-fat dairy, red meat, they depend on several factors. First is your overall diet. If these foods are a part of an otherwise well-balanced diet, you have high fiber, healthy fats, whole, minimally processed foods, the effects may not be as concerning. Fiber, for instance, can help offset the impact of saturated fats by binding to cholesterol and preventing it from being absorbed. Your activity level. So regular exercise can improve your cholesterol profile. This will help increase that good cholesterol, HDL, while helping manage the bad cholesterol, LDL. And of course, your genetics come into play here. Some people are more sensitive to saturated fats due to genetics. And if you are one of these individuals, your LDL cholesterol may rise more noticeably when consuming a lot of saturated fats. So just testing and not guessing, getting a good baseline now is a great opportunity for you to see where you're at. And then over time, you can keep testing maybe once a quarter or twice a year and just see what the trend is doing based on your physical activity level, your current diet, and all those factors. Not all sources of cheese, dairy, or red meat are created equal either. If you think about cheese, there's high quality aged cheeses in moderation. This can fit into any healthy diet. They also contain beneficial nutrients like calcium and protein. And pairing cheese with fiber-rich foods like veggies or whole grain crackers, this can help balance out the effects. And then full-fat dairy, like products like Greek yogurt, can be nutrient dense and provide healthy fats, and they're a great choice, especially when you avoid the ones that have the added sugar. And red meat, the type and cut of the red meat really do matter here. If you can opt for leaner cuts like sirloin or tenderloin or grass-fed options, which have a better fat profile, including more omega-3s. Processed red meats like bacon, sausage, and hot dogs, however, they should probably be minimized because they are higher in harmful additives. Things like sodium, which if you're eating a high processed food diet, you probably don't need any more of that. If you're eating a really clean whole food diet, that's a different story. So how does this all fit into cholesterol management? How can we give some actionable, tangible things to do? If you love these foods, you can still enjoy them while keeping your cholesterol in check. Here's how. Moderation is key. Enjoy these foods as a part of a balanced diet rather than making them the main feature of every meal. Pair them with heart-healthy foods, things like leafy greens or roasted vegetables. You can add those things to your cheese plates. And then enjoy red meats with fiber-rich sides like lentils or quinoa instead of refined carbs like white bread or fries. Focus on the big picture. If the majority of your diet is nutrient-dense and minimally processed, occasional indulgences in cheese, full-fat dairy, or red meat, they won't derail your health. So are you in trouble? The short answer is no. If your cholesterol levels are currently healthy and you're mindful about balance, you're likely fine. However, if you're eating these foods in large quantities, combined with a lot of refined carbs and processed snacks, Or if your family has a history of heart disease, you definitely might want to take a closer look at your overall eating patterns and get your blood work done. Check your numbers, get your cholesterol tested, knowing your LDL and HDL and triglycerides give a very clear picture of where you stand. Experiment with swaps. If you love cheese, maybe try pairing smaller portions of cheese with fiber-rich foods. If you love red meat, include fish or plant-based proteins a few times a week for variety. You don't have to always eat it at every meal, even though some carnivore advocates say that you can, which, more power to them. And I support it if it works for them. Incorporate more healthy fats, like add avocados, add nuts, seeds, and olive oil into your diet to make a more balanced, saturated fat intake. And then keep an eye on portions. Add 1 serving of cheese or 3 to 4 ounces a portion of red meat. This is often enough to satisfy cravings without overdoing it. So if you love these foods, it doesn't mean you're doomed. The key is balance, and the key is quality, and the key is moderation. Okay, let's do a quick little finisher, a little recap. Check food labels. Look for partially hydrogenated oils and avoid them. Focus on fiber, so add more beans, oats, fruits, and vegetables to your plate. Choose the healthy fats, use olive oil instead of butter, and eat nuts instead of chips. Cut down on the sugar, replace your sodas for sure with water or unsweetened tea or an electrolyte company like L&T, and replace desserts with maybe fruit. We love berries and dark chocolate instead of ice cream at night. Add omega-3s, so eat fatty fish 2 to 3 times per week or consider a supplement. And then when we focus on our healthy fats, we want to prioritize omega-3 fatty acids from salmon, walnuts, flax seeds, and monounsaturated fats like from olive oil, avocados, or almonds. And limit your saturated fat and avoid trans fats completely if you are a hyperresponder. Add soluble fiber to your diet, so things like oats, beans, lentils, apples, carrots. All those things can lower LDL cholesterol by helping your body eliminate it. Eat more antioxidant-rich foods, so colorful fruits and vegetables. I want you to think berries, spinach, sweet potatoes. This is going to help prevent LDL oxidation, which makes cholesterol more harmful. And then stay active. Exercise raises HDL cholesterol and lowers LDL. The recommendation from the CDC is to aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate exercise per week or 75 minutes of vigorous activity per week. I like to think about resistance training at least 2 to 3 times per week with your full body, hitting all the major muscle groups at least 2 times per week. Getting in maybe some zone 2 cardio, some nice movement where you could still hold a conversation 2 to 3 times per week. Maybe one really high intense short workout, like a HIIT workout once a week, and then a nice long hike or something like that where you can empty the tank once a week. It's a lot, it really is, but it's important. If you can work your way up to that, you would be on fire. You want to maintain a healthy weight. Losing just about 5 to 10% of your body weight can improve your cholesterol profile significantly. And of course, if you smoke, you have to quit smoking. Smoking reduces HDL cholesterol, and quitting helps to restore balance. Think of this as your cholesterol checklist. Eat healthy fats, move your body, load up on fiber and antioxidants. These small changes can add up to big results over time. It's important to remember that cholesterol is essential for your body, but balance is definitely key. Dietary cholesterol, the cholesterol you get in food, isn't as harmful as we once thought. Focusing on healthy fats, fiber, and exercise will optimize your levels. And advanced cholesterol testing can provide deeper insights, especially if you have a history of heart disease in your family. We didn't go into it a lot today, but there are things about that we can go a little bit more in depth on cholesterol when it comes to things like maybe you've heard from Dr. Peter Attia, ApoB or LP(a), and how particle size matters and how oxidized LDL becomes an issue. So we could talk about that on future episodes, but just know that you don't have to fear cholesterol. Just understand what's happening and then manage what's going on and take control of your own health. Don't let other people scare you and use fear-mongering tactics to stop you from eating the foods that you enjoy or foods that could be good for your health if done properly. Remember, you're the CEO of your health. Cholesterol doesn't have to be scary when you understand how it works and what you can do about it. So start small with these changes we talked about today. Be consistent and watch how these changes ripple through your life. And that's it, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me on this Fuel Up Friday episode of the Living the Dream podcast. Please share the knowledge that you gain with your friends and family and hold each other accountable. If this episode inspired you, share it with a friend who could benefit from the information on cholesterol. To support this podcast and help it grow, please subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to this podcast on and leave a review telling others how this podcast benefited you. Leave a comment on this episode. You can do it on Spotify, on YouTube, letting others know how you're incorporating this information into your life. This is really a non-cost way to help get this important wellness content into more people's ears. Make sure you tag me on social media at livingthedream_podcast or at CoachDamien_SD and let us know how this episode benefited you. Let us know what we missed. Let us know what we got wrong. We want to know. Message us if you have any suggestions or tips that would help your Living the Dream team that we can discuss in future episodes. I will be right here with you working on making us stronger, happier, and healthier humans. Until next time, friends, keep living the dream.